Hi guys, how you doing? It's Thursday. It's been a minute since I've seen some of you. I got to see some of you last night over in the paid group, but for the rest of you guys, I haven't seen you since what? Friday. It's been a minute. It has been a minute, and I have missed you guys so much. I will tell you though, I'm feeling 110% better, thank goodness. So I am fidgety, apparently. I cannot sit still. Katie, hey. I missed you too. I missed you too. I'm feeling so much better though. So thank you guys for, letting me off the hook on Tuesday and letting me take a minute to recover. I didn't expect it to make me not feel so good, but all is right in my world now as far as my my body feeling is concerned, right? So yeah, all good, all good. Joy says, yay, I made it. Hi, Joy. Hi, Terry. Miss Joan is here. Stephanie is here. Hello, hello. Hi, Kathy. It's so good to see you guys. I've missed you. I've missed you. So, since this week is a little weird, right? This week was weird because I had my vaccine on Monday. Tuesday, I was not feeling so good. Yesterday, I was feeling... Excuse me. I had air trapped in there. Yesterday I was feeling better, but I was by evening yesterday, I was 100% better. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. I don't like to be down and out. I don't like to, it's very, very difficult for me to take a minute and do nothing. Like, that's so hard. Everybody kept telling me, go lay down, go lay down. You need to rest, give your body a chance to rest. And like, in my brain, I know, yeah, I should be doing that, but I kept coming in here and sitting at my desk and like looking at things, and I'm like, there's so much I need to do. But I just didn't have the energy to do it, and it's so hard. It's so hard for somebody like me who is constantly on the go to have to stop and like, I have to give in. I have to listen to my body and lay down. And so spending Tuesday in bed, oh my gosh. You may as well have sent me to prison. Like, I felt so worthless all day. I didn't feel good physically, but I was like struggling mentally because I really needed to get in here and get things done. And my body was just not agreeing with me. So it was hard. It was hard. I'm a terrible patient because I'm always like, trying to get up and get on with things. Ain't nobody got time to be sick. Right? Nobody likes to be sick, but there are some of us in the world that it affects very much because we are get up and go kind of people, and it's hard. So anyway, because of that, long story short, I do have a reason. Well, maybe not that short. I do have a reason for telling you all of that, for those of you who don't know, and that is because the projects for this week, I'm not going to say that I didn't put a lot into them, but I didn't put a lot into them. Today's project, you guys, I literally kind of put it together at the last minute yesterday. They're gorgeous. The earrings are absolutely stunning, and I am obsessed with them, and I think they're beautiful. But we're not really learning anything new. We're going to do something that we've already done, which is the herringbone wire wrap, but that's okay, right? It's okay. We can revisit things. It's no big deal. So I'm happy to show you guys today's project just because I think they're so pretty. They're so pretty. I can't wait to wear them. I was like, should I put these in the shop? No, I can't because they're just so pretty. I have to keep them for myself. So I hope that you guys will enjoy them as well. I'm using some beads from my friend Danielle Wicks. I don't know if you guys know her or not. I'm sure you probably do. What a dumb thing for me to say. My apologies, Danielle. Everybody knows who you are. Whoa. Okay, so Danielle is a jewelry designer. You guys, I'm sure you've seen her with Sam. She designs for John Beads. She does Michael's classes. Like, she's amazing. Okay, she's just amazing. And she has an Etsy shop. And I bought some beads from her Etsy shop. They are John beads that we're going to be using in our design today, and they're so pretty. So I have to send some love to Danielle and to John Bead because these beads are so pretty. Can't wait for you to see them up close. Let's see. What else? Oh, because it's been one of those weeks where, you know, things have been off and I didn't feel super great. As far as tomorrow, our Feel Good Friday. So here's what you can expect. Feel Good Friday is always very casual, laid back, and lots of fun, where we do simple, easy to create pieces of jewelry, and I have kits to go with them in the shop. Well, since I didn't have a whole lot of feel good time this week to create some kits, I only have 2 kits. They're so easy, but they have crowns in them, which is kind of a little series that I'm doing at the moment. So I only have two brand new kits that I'm going to put in the shop tomorrow. I'll show them to you, but I think what we're going to do is we are going to revisit some of the kits that are already in the shop that I kind of need to move. Like, I need to get those kits out of the shop. I need to sell those so that I can make room for more things. And I'm really just kind of taking this week as an opportunity to do that. So for instance, the bird's nest pendants, I think we're going to redo those. I think I'm going to show those to you guys again because those are restocked. They're in the shop. The pearl bracelet, I think I might do one of those. I'm not real sure, but I just want you guys to know that tomorrow there will probably only be 2 new kits, but I really need to move some of the kits that are already there. So if you have your eye on a kit that's been in the shop, you might want to go ahead and grab it, because hopefully with a big push tomorrow, I can start moving some of those out of the way. All right, so enough chit chat. Let's get down to this project because I can't wait for you guys to see these beads. Oh, so pretty. They're so pretty. All right. So, you guys, I got to do something about this blue bead mat. I got to get rid of it. I need a white, like a real true white. And I've tried that Stacy's stiff stuff that you put on the back of bead embroidery. I have tried felt. I have tried everything, and it all picks. Like, it gets, you know, it's just gross. Does anybody know where I can get plain white, like real white, not cream, not that weird yellowy color, but white bead mats? I got to get something better for you guys to look at. Okay, so look at these beads. Oh my. Are they not gorgeous? I can't remember what they're called, but they are from John Bead, and they are just this shimmery yumminess. They're like teal and purple, and the purple's not really purple. It just is an illusion. I don't even know how to explain it, but gosh, they're so pretty. And they're druk beads, so they're not perfectly round. You guys know how a druk bead kind of looks. It's not perfectly round. It's kind of an oblong round shape, but I'm in love. So this was the focal that I built my earrings around. Okay, so we're going to use 2 of these. They are 8mm beads. Okay, and this is what we're going to be creating if you didn't see the picture. Okay, so we're going to take 2 of those, and we're going to herringbone wire wrap around them, and we're going to add these really beautiful blue-green beads to the outer edges, and then we're going to create a drop. And we're going to do a knotted head pin. So there's a lot of technique here today. We are going to do a knotted head pin. We're going to do our herringbone wire wrap. And I'm also going to show you how to make the ear wires, because somebody asked about those not too long ago. So I'm going to show you start to finish the entire piece here. So we've got lots of things. Let's see. Danielle says they're from Preciosa. Oh, okay. And so pretty. She says she has a bunch left in her shop. If you want them, you better go grab them. Hi, Danielle, by the way. Hi, Danielle. I'm so glad you're here. All right. So this is what we're going to be creating. So you're going to need some 24 gauge wire for the earring itself. You're going to need some 20 gauge wire for the ear wire. Okay. So let's get started, shall we? So we're going to start with 1 single bead here, and we're going to start with a piece. You're going to need about 10 inches of 24 gauge wire. Now, if you want to use something other than 24 gauge wire, you can. Just know that the 24 gauge wire is very user friendly if you are a beginner, okay? Because it's nice and soft. I'm using German style wire, so even though it's a half hard wire, it's still pretty soft since it is such a small gauge, okay? All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make a wrapped loop just like we always do. However, I need to make about 8 wraps instead of 4. So I need to come down a bit on that wire, a little bit more than what we normally do. So I want to be sure that I give myself at least 2 inches. Don't skimp on the measurement here. Give yourself at least 2 inches so that you've got plenty. Depending on how you know, how big you make your loop, all of those things are gonna come into play as far as your measurement is concerned. So you definitely want to be sure that you give yourself enough. Okay, so we're gonna bend that wire and make our little 7 or a backward 7, depending on how you're looking at it. It's a backward 7 to me. And I'm gonna come in. Whoops, sorry. Pile o' tools here. All right. I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers, and I'm going to grab that wire, and I'm going to take the wire up and over the top barrel of the pliers. Okay, I got to get that wire over to the other side. In order to do that, I need to rotate my pliers so that now the bottom barrel is the top barrel, and that's going to give me enough room to bring that wire all the way over here to close up our loop. I'm going to switch hands, and I'm going to wire wrap, and I want about 8 wraps. Okay, so there's 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so I've got 8 wire wraps, and I'm going to come in with my cutter tool and trim off that excess wire that we have. And I'm going to take one of these gorgeous beads. I know some of you are running right over to Danielle's shop right now and grabbing the rest of these. And you should. And you should. Gosh, they're so pretty in person. They're so gorgeous. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to replicate our wraps and our loop over here on the other side. And my wire is sticking out just a tad. I'm going to come in and squeeze that down with my pliers. It's not going to matter too much because we are going to cover it up. So I'm not going to fuss over it too much. But what we need to do is we need to come out away from the bead enough room so that we can create 8 wire wraps on this side, right? So I'm going to eyeball it. I don't say never, but I very rarely actually measure with a ruler. You can measure if you want to it to be exact. I just come over and kind of eyeball it and give my wire a bend and say, okay, that looks like about the same amount of room there. Sometimes I'm off by a wrap or 2, but honestly, in the end, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Okay, just make sure that you do make room, because 8 wraps is not going to fit if you just bend the wire right over the top of your pliers. Okay, so you do have to come out a little bit. I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers again. We're going up and over, roll the pliers, take the wire on over to the other side, and then we're going to wire wrap in that space. And I'm just kind of winding it up, okay, just to fill in that space between our loop and our bead, and straighten those wires up. Okay, so we're going to do 2 rounds of herringbone without any beads. Okay, so herringbone wire wrap, I know we've done it a bunch, but it never hurts to see it over and over again, right? So the wire is coming from around the back and out the front, okay, right? It's in front of all of these wire wraps. You can see it's coming this direction, okay? I want to take that wire and I want to guide it down the side of my bead. And then I want it to come in front of the wire wraps that are on the opposite side of my bead. Has to go in front, okay? Now, wrap around to the back and back out to the front. That's going to lock that first wire wrap around that bead in place. We're going to repeat that on the other side. So we are going to guide that wire up the side of the bead and again to the front of the wire wraps. Okay, you can see my wire is to the front of the wire wraps, around the back and back out the front. Now we have wraps on either side. So we've created we've created a cute little frame for our bead. Okay, we're going to repeat that we are going to take the wire, and this time when we go down the side of the bead, we want it to go behind the wire wrap that we just created. Okay, so make sure it's laying behind that first wire to the front of the wire wraps, around the back, and back out the front. That makes 2. We're going to repeat on this side, go behind the wrap that's already there. Just lay it down with your finger, come to the front of the wire wraps, around, and back out the front. Okay, so now you've got 2 wraps on either side. Okay, so you created a cute little herringbone frame for your beads. Or for your beads. It's just a single bead in the middle, but it will be 2 because we're going to attach another one. Now we're going to pick up some beads and add to this. Okay, so I have these little, they're kind of 3.5 millimeter little faceted beads. 3 millimeter, 4 millimeter, somewhere in between there is going to be the perfect size for this. Okay, so if you don't have faceted beads, just little round beads will do. I'm going to pick up about 5 or 6 of these. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 6. It really just, it's always different. I know that seems weird, but it is. And that really has to do with kind of the placement of the wire. So I'm going to pick up 5 to start with. Now, as far as where I got these little beads from, I actually picked these up at, I think I got these at Bead Fest like 2 years ago. So, you know, I don't know. I don't have an exact place for them. All right, so you're going to bring those beads down, and then you want to guide that wire in that same curve around the outside edge of the bead. And I can see I've got room for 1 more bead. So I'm going to go ahead add 1 more bead to that. Okay, now I'm doing my herringbone the exact same way. The only difference is just that we've added beads to this. So now I want to take my wire. I still want the wire to come to the front of the wire wraps that are already in place, right? Wrap around the back and back out the front. That locks that row of beads in place. And now I just want to repeat that on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to use my wire just like a needle, pick up some beads. Okay, we'll pick up 6. Okay, guide those around the curve of the bead. Take that wire to the front of the wire wraps. You're running out of room here, but you've still got room to go to the front, wrap around, back out. And if you want to wrap around a second time, you can. But that's pretty much it. Okay, that's all you need to do. Now you just want to come in with your cutter tool and trim that off. You want to trim off this excess. I trim it on the back. Okay. And you've got 1 little section ready to go. Now we want a second section because remember our earrings are two of those sections. So we're going to repeat that. Then we're going to put a drop on the bottom. However, if you don't want to do all that, if this is way too long of an earring for you, that's okay. Let me show you what you can do. Okay. You can go ahead and put an ear wire on the top of this and either add a drop here if you want to, or if you don't want to add a drop at all, you can take your little loop and bend it to the back and make it nice and flat, and you don't have to have a loop there at all. That wire, you can do all kinds of fun things with it. So if that's, if that's all you want, just bend that little loop on the bottom to the back and you'll never even see it. Okay. All right. So we want to make another one of these to match to go on the bottom. So we're going to need another 10-inch piece of our 24 gauge wire, and we're going to start it exactly the same way, except that before we do our wire wrapping, we're actually going to attach it directly to our loop here. So we're going to get started the same way. Okay, we're going to bend our wire, give ourselves, give ourselves about 2 inches. Let's see. How do you keep the wrapping from getting crooked? So you just kind of have to keep an eye on it. And if it tends to get crooked on you, you just want to, you want to smooth it out. If it's your wrapping wire, you want to smooth it out with your fingers, or you can use your nylon jaw pliers. If these guys that are sticking out that have the wire wraps on them, if they're kind of bending to one side or the other, just very gently kind of coax them back into the shape where they belong, right? Into the spot where you want them. That's the great thing about using 24 gauge wire for this, because it's so bendy that you really can kind of coax it into where you want it. Now, if you start going up in gauges with your wire, if you start with like the 22 gauge, then you've got a little bit thicker gauge wire. It's gonna, you're gonna have less of that flexibility. It's going to give you a great look, but you don't have that that ability to really kind of coax it back. So you have to be extra mindful when you start going up in your gauge. Okay, so now I'm going to do my wrapped loop just the same, but before we do our wraps, we're going to bring the two together. So I'm going to up and over with my wire. I got to rotate those pliers so that I can take that wire all the way around to close up that loop. Now I'm going to take it off of the tool so that I can attach it. So I'm going to take the tail end of my wire here and I'm going to take it through the loop. So stick it through the loop, either one, doesn't matter which side. Okay, I'm going to bring the two loops together and then just kind of very gently snap those together. Okay, now I like to come in with my bent chain nose pliers for this just because I can really hold on with the bent chain nose pliers and it keeps the pliers out of the way. So I grab that loop with my bent chain nose pliers, okay, and then do your wire wraps. And again, you want to do 8. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And mine are not perfect, and that's okay because we're going to cover them up. Remember, you don't see any of them. They get covered up, so it doesn't matter if they're not perfect wire wraps. We don't care. We're okay with it. We're going to trim off the excess. I'm also going to straighten up my loop a little bit. It kind of got distorted a little bit. That's all right. Okay, so those two are hooked together. We're going to take our bead, thread your bead on. Okay, and again, we want to repeat our wire wraps down here on the other end. So again, you'll come in with your pliers and you're going to want to just kind of eyeball it. Straighten up your wire before you get started. Okay, just kind of eyeball. Give your wire a bend. Okay, round nose pliers are coming in. We're going up and over, rotate, take the wire over, and then switching hands to do the wire wrapping. I think my spacing was a little big this time, but that's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to take the wire, okay, I'm going to guide it down the side of the bead and just kind of mush it down with your finger as you go. Really push that wire where you want it. Don't let it control you, you control it. Okay, push that right down. Come to the front of your wire wraps here, around and back out to the front. Okay, so you've locked that first one in place. We're going to repeat. So we're going to go down the side of the bead, hold that wire in place with your finger. And if it's getting little crooks in it, okay, smooth it out. Come in with your nylon jaw pliers. The straighter the wire is, the easier it is to work with. But notice, see how my wire wraps down here, they tend to get wonky on you. You just want to keep an eye on everything. Keep everything nice and straight as you're going, okay? Just go slow. Guide that wire along the side of the bead to the front of your wire wraps, to the front and around, back out to the front. Oh, that one. Notice how I'm kind of opening that wire up with my fingers. I didn't mention it before, but if you feel like your wires are too close together in the front of your bead, just come in and with your fingernails kind of, you know, space them out, pull them apart a little bit so that you get as much of that beautiful bead showing as you want, okay? All right, now, again, straightening out my wire. I'm gonna take the wire next to the wrap that's already there. So we're going behind to the front of the wire wraps, wrap around and back out the front. So now we've got two. Straightening out my wire, coming to the back of the first wrap that's there, lay that wire down, come to the front of your wraps, around the back and back out the front. Okay, so now you have your little wire frame on these guys. And again, just kind of be mindful of, you know, making sure that your little sections here on the top and the bottom are nice and straight. Okay. All right, now we're ready to pick up our beads. We're almost done. So I'm going to pick up 6 of our beads. Okay, drop those down. You want to curve those beads with your thumb around that outer edge of your bead. Really hold all of that in place. Take your wire to the front of the wire wraps, wrap around the back, back out the front. Okay. And now we're just going to repeat on the other side. Yes, I'm using 24 gauge German style wire. Sorry guys, sometimes I get working and I miss the questions as they go by. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude, I promise. All right, we're going to pick up 6 of our beads. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and then curve that around. Go to the front of those wire wraps, wrap around to the front, and wrap again if you want to, okay? Just to use up that wire. If you've got extra space, why not use it? Okay. Straighten up my loop here with my pliers. I'm going to come to the back with my cutter tool and trim off the wire. All right, so now this part is done. And again, you've got another opportunity to stop here if you want to, okay? You can add an ear wire to the top of this and tuck this loop to the back, and that would be a beautiful earring, okay? I'm going to add a dangle to the bottom because, you know, I'm extra and I have to, to make as much sparkle and dangle as possible. However, I wanted to stop at this point and point out that this would make a gorgeous bracelet. I'm just saying, to just keep going all the way around with links, it would look amazing as a full bracelet or even a necklace. Okay. Making earrings out of mine because we're keeping it simple, but you could make the most gorgeous bracelet ever, which I really think I want to do with the rest of my beads. And I have enough of them to do that. So, okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a drop and we're going to do a knotted head pin. So if you like the knotted head pins, this is going to be perfect little demo for you. I'm going to put this guy down here on the bottom and we're going to wire wrap him directly. So I'm not going to use any jump rings or anything like that. And I'm going to use 24 gauge wire because that's what we've been using. Now I normally make my knotted head pins with the 22 gauge wire, but just to keep everything nice and balanced, we're going to use the 24. All right, so I've got about a 4-inch piece. That's actually longer than 4 inches. My piece is a little bit large, but you need about 3.5 inches is really all you're going to need. I'm going to grab the wire right at the tip of the wire and at the very tip of the round nose pliers. Okay, so you want the tip of both of those things. And I'm going to roll that wire around the tip of the pliers one time, completely all the way around. And then I'm going to go a second time directly underneath, all the way around. And you want to stop where you see that flush cut in the wire. Okay. Or if it's not a flush cut, regardless, you want to stop where that cut is. So you only want to go around the pliers 2 times. Make a little coil. Okay. Now, before you take it off of the tool, you want to take the wire and bend it out this direction. You want it to run underneath the coils that you just made, which seems kind of weird at first until you get used to this. So don't go the other direction. Make sure that your wire is running underneath those two wraps that you made. Okay, now you can take it off of the tool, and this is what you've got. You've got your two little coils, your wire running that direction. You want to take the tail end of that wire, bend it backwards, and take the tail of it through those two coils. So you got like a little lasso. Okay, now nylon jaw pliers are a must. Do not do this with chain nose pliers or any other kind of pliers. You have to have, look how sad mine are. I made a lot of knotted head pins. You gotta have the nylon jaw pliers for this, because if you try to pull this through regular pliers, you're gonna strip that beautiful coating that's on the outside of your wire, okay? So don't do that. Nylon jaw pliers, come in with another pair of pliers, pull the end, and you're just gonna pull a knot into the end of the wire. It makes a cute little rosette little flower thing, and you've got yourself a knot. At the end of your wire, you have a head pin. Okay, so now we're going to thread our drop bead on, and there you go. Okay, now I'm going to wire wrap this directly to the bottom of our earring. So I'm going to come in with my chain nose pliers, bend that wire. I'm coming in with the round nose pliers, going up and over, rotate the pliers, take the wire on over. Now take it off of the tool because we're going to directly wire wrap this. So I'm going to take the tail end of the wire and I'm going to go through that loop, snap the two loops together. I'm going to come in with my bent chain nose pliers, hold on to that loop, and I'm going to wire wrap between the loop and the top of our bead. And I'm going to double up on this. So I'm going to do the slouchy sock. That's a technical term. Not really. I made that one up, of course, but it's where I go back over the wire wraps that I already made to just kind of thicken them up. And to me, it always looks like a slouchy sock. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. It's just one of those things that sometimes I do. Right? It looks like a slouchy sock, doesn't it? Remember those socks in the 80s that we had that were intended, like they were sewn intentionally so that you scrunched them? You know, like scrunchies for your ankles. Okay, I'm going to come in with my cutter tool and trim off the excess wire. And if you need to tuck in anything, now is the opportunity to do that. Right? And so there is our earring. Now, large and in charge, okay? These are not earrings for those of you who like dainty jewelry. And that's okay, because not everybody is into, you know, shoulder dusters and great big long earrings. I am a huge fan, but I like to show you the big ones because you can always size these down. You could stick with one, right, and a little dangle, or just stick with one and no dangle. Like, this is totally up to you. If you want to, you know, if you want to do 6 of these and make like amazing like runway jewelry, you totally could. Okay, I'm just giving you the basics, and you do whatever you want to with them to make them personal to you. Okay, all right, so that's the earring, but I'm going to show you real quick how to do the ear wire because that's been asked recently. And actually Meredith Roddy showed it over on Beadalon not too long ago, because when I showed her how to do it, she was like, that's my new favorite ear wire ever. And I gotta say, it's my favorite too. It's a really comfortable and easy ear wire to make. So let's do that real quick. So you're gonna need a piece of 20 gauge German style wire for this. And you don't need a lot. I have a large piece here, but you really don't need, oh my God, Wanda. I cannot read your comment out loud, but that is just too funny. YouTube people, you're missing out on Wanda's comments because she is cracking me up. Okay.
So you're going to need a piece of 20 gauge wire for this. I wouldn't go any thicker than 20 gauge wire just because it becomes uncomfortable in your ears, okay? So 20 gauge wire is the go-to, and I'm going to use my stepped bell making pliers for this because I love this tool very, very much. If you don't have these and you've got a small, if you have the small bell making pliers, you can do this with them, or a combination of the small bell making pliers and the large bell making pliers, okay? But I suggest that you grab a pair of these just to have, because you can wow, I'm getting tongue tied. You can do so many things with them. I'm going to use the smallest mandrel, and I want to make sure my wire is cut nice and flush there. So trimming off the end, I'm going to use the very small section, and right at the end of my wire, I'm going to turn a loop. Okay. I'm not going to break its neck. I'm going to leave it exactly like that. Now I'm going to use the largest mandrel. Okay. So I want to place our loop in between these back two mandrels with our loop facing away from the largest mandrel. And then I'm going to just take that wire and guide it up and over. And then I'm going to slide it off. So this is what we've got. So it looks like a little shepherd's hook at the moment. Okay. And it doesn't really look like an earring, or an earring hook. It will. Now, to get the exact measurement every single time so that your ear wires always match, place them in the cutter tool with your small loop right up against the edge of your cutter tool. That way you make the same size cut every single time and your ear wires will always match. Okay, go ahead and trim. Now we need to come in with our pliers. We got to do a little extra to this because obviously you can't get this through your ears. I'm going to grab the tail end of that wire with my chain nose pliers, give it a little slight bend, right? That's going to give it that shape that we want. Then I'm very carefully going to take my fingers and kind of open it up. Now it looks like an ear wire that you can actually wear and get into your ear. But we're not done with this, okay? There are two more really important things that you need to do. The very first thing that you need to do is you need to put this on your block, and you're going to need to work harden this. So I've got my steel block, and I have a nylon hammer, rubber, rawhide, whatever you've got, okay? And work harden both sides. Oh, Suzanne says, I got my bead knotting tool. Could you please do another class on bead knotting? I would love to. Let's do that next week. Knotting with the knotter tool is one of my favorite things. Does anybody have any objections to that? Let's see. Joan says, there was a question. Why do you roll the wire away from you instead of towards you? It's just personal preference. It's just really kind of how I was holding the tool underneath the iPad. It's up to you. Either way is whatever's more comfortable for you. Okay, so now we have the perfect shape. We've got it work hardened. We're ready to go, right? No, you're not done yet. There's one more step that is the most important step of the entire process, and that is you need to file off this edge. Unless it's somebody that you don't like, don't do that. File off the edge of this metal that you cut right here, because remember, you're going to thread that through an ear, a piercing hole. And the tiniest little microscopic pieces of wire is enough to really irritate somebody's piercing. So you want to be sure that you either take an emery board and file that end, or you can use your bead reamer with the cup burr attachment. That's that wire rounder tip. And you just want to place the tip of that into the rounder tip. And all my batteries are almost dead. I need to put new batteries in my bead reamer. Oh, poor little guy. You just want to round off the tip of that wire. It's going to be way more comfortable. It's not going to cause any infections. and your customers are going to thank you for it. Run your finger across it. Make sure that there are no pieces poking out. Oh, my sad little batteries in this guy. Oh, goodness. All right. Now you're ready to attach this to your to your earring. Don't skip that step. I'm serious. There is nothing worse than having a customer come to you and say, I got an infection. I had to go to the doctor and it was from your ear wire. I've never had that happen. Okay. But I can imagine that's probably one of the worst things that could ever happen to you as a jewelry maker. So just save yourself from that. Mary says, battery alert. All right, so now I'm just going to treat my little loop here just like I would a jump ring. I'm going to just very carefully walk it open. I'm going to thread it onto my earring, and then I'm going to walk it closed, and that's it. Ta-da! You have a gorgeous pair of earrings. Now, I don't know about you, but those are some fancy, fancy earrings. That's some sparkle. I would wear these every single day of my life, but some of you would not, and that's okay. Okay, you can definitely make this a bit smaller, and as a matter of fact, you can make your center bead smaller. You can use seed beads on your outer edges instead of, you know, sparkly beads if you want to. You really can adjust this to your own taste, right? So it doesn't have to be this crazy, wild, sparkly thing here, but you know, if you're into the crazy, wild, sparkly thing, then you're good to go. Oh, gosh. I'm going to roll back. I saw a question here. I don't know if it was a question or it was just a comment. Let's see. Can you use 22 gauge for earrings? Yes, you can. You can. Just want to work hard on them, but yes, you can. Let's see. I could have sworn... Oh, Donna says, haven't learned to knot yet and would love to. I could have sworn I saw... Oh, it was this. Pam said, wonder if my bead reamer has a cup tool. So here's the thing. So Beadalon offers the bead reamer, okay? And it comes with the reamer tip that goes with it. You actually buy the little bead reamer, the wire rounder tips as an extra. So it doesn't, if you buy the one from Beadalon, it doesn't come with it, but you can buy these little guys extra. And I don't think they're very expensive. The only problem I have with them is I wish they came in a case because I have a tendency to lose them. So I've had to get several of them because I lose them pretty easily. But they fit in the attachment that comes with your bead reamer, which is just this guy. So you just pop that out and take the reamer out and place the wire rounder tip in its place. So it's an in addition to, but yeah, super, super handy tool to have. As long as you can keep up with it. I lose mine constantly. All right, I'm going to turn you guys around so you can see what these look like. Oh, thank you, Maria. Maria says she explains everything so well, yet doesn't talk down. You're so welcome for that. I got to tell you, I've learned from some of the greats in the industry over the years, and I like to think of myself as not necessarily one of the greats, but approachable. And that's a huge thing for me. Look how fabulous. Oh yes, they're like peacocks for your ears. That's a really big thing for me. I want to be approachable. I don't ever want anybody to think that I think that I am better than they are, or that I am not learning every day, because I'm never going to get to a point in my jewelry making where I feel like I've learned it all. I don't know everything, and I'll be completely straight up and honest with you about things that I don't know, and always happy to help find the answers to things I don't know the answers to. But yeah, not talking down to somebody, that's a huge one. I don't like for a teacher to make me feel like I don't know what I'm doing. That doesn't encourage me to do anything. Everything I show you is something you can do, right? You are able to hopefully follow the steps and create these things, or I wouldn't show them to you. And there are some things I haven't shown you guys because I can't do it. And if I can't do it, I can't teach you how to do it, right?
you know? So I try to keep things accessible. I try to keep myself accessible, right? And just let you be encouraged. I don't want to make you feel inferior. That's no good. That's not a good thing to do. Definitely approachable. Thank you. Yay. I'm just regular folks. And that's all of the teachers in my life that have ever made an impact on me were regular people. Like even my history teacher, I can think back to my very favorite history teacher. I hated history, but he saw in me that I hated history and he came down to my level and made it accessible for me. And I've always carried that with me, you know. I want that to be the case. Like I want to take something, if you want to learn how to herringbone wire wrap, then I'm going to show you how to do it in a way that you can understand. What is the point of me talking down to you and being like, I'm superior of this? Then I'm not teaching you anything, right? I'm not teaching you anything. And in turn, you can't take what I taught you out and teach it to somebody else. That's what I want. I want you guys to take what you learn and teach it to somebody else. We got to share the love. Wow, I need to shut up. You ever just talk so much, you're like, where's the mute button on this girl? Lord have mercy. Okay, so these are gorgeous. Sorry about that tangent. Can you knot the wire in between the beads that wrap the big bead? Can you knot the wire in between the beads that wrap around the big bead? I'm not sure I understand that question very well. Knot the wire in between the beads that wrap around the bead. Like doing a knotted head pin? Is that what you mean? I'm not sure I understand what your question is. I don't know. See, I'll tell you straight up. I got no idea. Pam says, what type or brand is cheap to practice on? So my suggestions for that are, oddly enough, if you've got a Walmart near you, I see these little rolls of wire that are 99 cents, and I think they're just aluminum wire. It's really soft. It's like dead soft wire. That's a really good wire to just like grab 2 or 3 of them in different gauges to practice and play with. However, okay, don't use that as don't let that be the judge of whether you're good at it or not, because there is such a huge difference in whether you are making wrapped loops or wire wrapping something. There's a huge difference in the way that it feels in your hands when it comes to German style wire and dead soft wire, the difference. And a lot of times I feel like people who use dead soft wire to start their wrapped loops, they struggle with their wrapped loops and they're like, I don't understand. They're always wonky. They're never round. The wraps are always a mess. And then they try it with German style wire and it's like a light bulb goes off. It's like, wow, why is it so much better with the German style wire? And it has everything to do with the fact that the wire has a little bit of a temper to it. And that medium to hard temper of the wire makes a huge difference. Unfortunately for us and practicing, that wire is a little bit more expensive and you can't buy it for 99 cents a bundle at Walmart. So keep that in mind. Use those aluminum dead soft wires for practicing, but when you're ready or if you're struggling, go ahead and grab the German style wire and give it a shot and see if it makes a difference, because I promise it will. I promise you it will. There are so many people here in the comments that can tell you from firsthand experience that making that change made a huge difference to them. So yeah, German style 22 gauge wire totally helps my wire wrapped loop, says Katie. It's true. It's true. I wouldn't tell you if it weren't true. Somebody made a grumpy face at me. I must be talking too much. That's okay. Grumpy faces at myself here. All right. So I know everybody's sick of me. Stop talking. Go away now. I'm gonna. There was a question. Tuesdays at 4 and Fridays at 7? Are y'all talking about the paid group? So the paid group, for those of you who are asking, the paid group lives are Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern time and Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's for the paid group. But everybody else, the schedule is still exactly the same. So I'll be here tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern for Feel Good Friday. And we're gonna easy peasy casual date, right? We're casual dating tomorrow with each other and jewelry. How do I get to Cash App? Joan can put that link in here for you. Let's see. Are you going to have this live video on your YouTube channel? I am. Thank you for asking. That's a great question before we get out of here for the day. So guys, everybody know, not everybody knows, but everybody who knows Joan Dice, she is my my brain most of the time. But she is my right hand, guys, and she always takes our Facebook Live videos and puts them over on our YouTube channel, and you can watch them over and over again, you know, on the YouTube channel. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than other times just because YouTube can be a little fickle, sort of like Facebook. So you can watch them there. Please make sure to subscribe while you're there. And I'm so sorry that there are a ton of ads in the videos, but there are. But I get paid for them. So, you know, I mean, it's just pennies, but it's, you know, it might be worth it to sit through one of the ads and say, hey, I gave Sarah a couple of pennies today. So, but I do apologize because there are a lot of ads. All right, that's it for me today. Whew, I did a lot of talking. I need to shut up. The YouTube trolls are going to have a field day with me. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. I hope that you are inspired by these beauties, right? And I'll see you guys tomorrow. If I don't see you tomorrow, I'll see you again next week on Tuesday, 1 p.m. Our schedule hasn't changed a bit, so I'll be here with a new project for you guys. Enjoy your day.